Okay, so just going to blow this up and see if I can make myself big. All right. So one thing I wanted to talk about that's kind of been on my mind lately because I've been burnt by this recently is being really disciplined with opportunities. Um, so what does that mean? It means that as you get more and more skilled, there are going to be a lot of opportunities that pop up, right? Um, Now, where I'm in physical product, direct to consumer, e-commerce, and the current state of my business is that I've recently sold one company. We're building up one brand and preparing it to sell within the next 6 to 18 months, and we're launching new concepts, right? So we're launching new concepts now. The really important thing is you don't want to really get married to a concept. So that's the first lesson here is like don't get married to a concept, right? You really want to have kind of like an emotional detachment. Um, in this case, for us, it's testing a new product, testing a new offer, um, because you have to be really really disciplined with opportunities because there's a thing called direct costs, right? If you pursue an opportunity that was a 3 or 4 out of 10, you have to ask yourself, what are we then not pursuing? So a good example of this is we recently launched a new offer, and it did pretty well off the bat. Um, it's, I believe, scaled to 6 figures a month in revenue pretty quickly, which is decent. It solves a pain point, but the gross margins suck. Okay, so the gross margins are about 60%. Now, I've told so many people don't go after an offer with gross margins below 75%. The gross margins here are 60%, which means it takes a lot to get it to be profitable on the front end. And basically, it means you have to do everything sort of 10 to 15% better in an already hotly contested market. And it makes it really difficult to win in the long run. Now, I'll kind of explain what can happen with the tale of two opportunities here. It's a tale of two opportunities is I really like now the reason why we pursued this opportunity is because I was basically married to it. I saw this product idea. I saw it wasn't really being done properly. I jumped into it. It worked pretty well off the bat. I didn't follow my own process of actually doing like a margin calculation before we started building it out. And then only when we started selling it and we actually ordered units from the factory and an MOQ, which cost us about 50 grand of stock, did I realize that the gross margins suck. And now the plan with this particular offer is, we're going to try and figure out a way to get the gross margins up, or we're going to sell through the inventory and basically can that project because there's a tale of two opportunities here, right? And there's opportunity one, which is this, right? 60% gross margins. Maybe it's sort of like a medium sized TAM. The actual like makeup of the offer is not that conducive to front end sales, front end profitability. Now, this I'll go into in another video because it's sort of like its gross margins is part of it, but then there's a whole other few things of the makeup of the offer that makes it conducive to front end profitability and scaling hard on ads. Now, then there's opportunity number two. Now, opportunity number two, we don't know about because we've pursued this one, right? Now, let's consider, best case scenario with this opportunity one at 60% gross margins. Maybe we get a business that, does 0.5 to 1 mil, EBITDA, pretty low net margin. And, 2 to 3 years from now, we sell for, let's just say 3x. Let's just say we sell it for 2 million, whatever. Okay. Now, in this time that we've put all of this time and effort into this pretty shitty opportunity, there's opportunity two, which we never tested, which was 85% gross margins, large TAM. The makeup of the offer is really conducive to front end profitability. first to market, okay? Compared to, say, this one, second to market. Now, again, best case scenario, I mean, I've never really gone to this level, but let's just say, best case scenario, we get it to 10 mil, 5 to 10 mil EBITDA. EBITDA, healthy net margin. Maybe we choose to sell it, maybe we don't. Realistically, let's just say 3 to 4 years from now, we want to sell it, and it fetches, anywhere from 25 to 50 million. And you can see the difference there, right? Same team, same entrepreneur, different opportunity, and the difference is huge. Now, these indirect costs stack up everywhere in the business. So it's not just with new offers, it's also with what you choose to use your time in the business with. So if I can use the example of like a current e-commerce business, right? And let's look at this concept another way. I see a lot of people talk about, they're spending 100K a month on Facebook, right? On Facebook, and then they start focusing on CRO, right? Start focusing on CRO. They'll start dialing in their email flows. They'll start thinking about additional channels. Maybe they want to start running ads on TikTok. They'll think about TikTok, maybe some organic channels, so like organic, so SEO. Now, not to say that these things aren't necessary, right? It's important to dial in your email flow. It's important to do CRO. Not really that important at 100K a month, depending on your definition of CRO. It's important to eventually add new channels, and obviously organic traffic is important. But let's talk about now, when you're doing all this, you're splitting your focus, right? Let's compare to the person who just fully focuses on Facebook and one lead offer until 500K a month of spend, right? That's all they're focused on. Their email flows are, they're there, but they're pretty basic, right? They're not focusing on any additional channels. They don't even have a TikTok page, haven't yet started with SEO. All they're focused on is their lead offer and Facebook until they're spending $500,000 a month, right? That's it. Complete and utter focus. And you can see here that spreading now, will this person get to 500K a month? Maybe. That's not to say that by doing all these things that they're not going to get to 500K a month, but typically with a new business, this is what you really want to be focusing on, which I see so many people get wrong, and the indirect costs add up. Because let's say your email flows add an additional 10% to your 100K a month of spend, and the CRO adds 1 or 2%, and the additional channel doesn't really work out because you haven't really got your messaging dialed in on Facebook, so the additional channel kind of bombs. Organic SEO and TikTok organic, you can't really get your product to go viral, and again, because you haven't dialed in your front end and you don't really know what messaging converts because you're not spending a lot, these sort of efforts fall flat on their face, and then your SEO, you're getting 200 new visitors a month, right? Versus the person that all they focused on was this, and now they're spending big, they're spending heavy. The most important thing, the business is now spitting cash, and you can then go after the other levers, right? The other big levers that are going to keep driving. Now you can use that cash and the better messaging to go and nail TikTok as the second channel. Now you can use that cash to hire out an expert TikTok organic agency and explain to them what message is converting with the paid so they can get it to blow up. Now you're actually driving a lot of brand name search, which is then going to boost your SEO efforts because your pages are ranking better. So you see how focus all of a sudden, not to mention email flows are getting more, traffic. So each iteration you make there has a high bit of leverage. CRO, you're actually getting some page visitors, so you can get results fast and roll through a number of tests. And again, that starts to compound. See how that waiting until you're actually spending a significant amount compounds all of these other activities now. Versus if you started doing them at 100K a month, chances are you're never going to get to 500K a month, which means you're just diluting your focus. So that's kind of how I wanted to explain, indirect costs. Because again, with this here, maybe you have a profitable business, maybe it's ticking along, but you really don't know what you're missing out on with full focus. And with this one here, you can see at the end of 3 years, let's say you've sold for 2 million, and then let's just take 30 million here. You've actually, with this scenario here, at the end, you've really lost, $28 million. So really important concept, something I've only started to kind of consider and learn now. And I think something that's going to be, that's going to serve me well in my future years, but also something to come back and reflect on, because the indirect costs of pursuing something always stack up, right? Just remember, anytime you go after something means you're not doing something else. So I'll leave those thoughts there.